in the building. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. Y'all go to the gym, I be like. Hey, listen. I'll admit I'm addicted, so committed, be on with it. Warrior spirit, police spirit, work your body in New York minute.
I'm also a family member of the MOVE organization. This government dropped a bomb, killing 11 black men, women, and children in my family. I have 9 brothers and sisters who went to jail for the accusation of killing a cop, and it was absolutely clear that they didn't.
Thank you again for joining The Real Activist. Again, I'm Richard Zulu Shabazz. I'm here with Pam Africa from the MOVE organization. Did you say some of the other organizations that are new?
From the MOVE organization, the MOVE 9 is 9 of our brothers and sisters that was arrested on August 8th due to a confrontation between the Rizzo administration. They attacked our home. One of their cops was killed with a cop bullet. We were like 6 feet underground, and the cop was facing our house, and he was shot with a bullet going down. Totally impossible for anyone in MOVE to have been able to do it. They were shooting 10,000 pounds of water pressure in our home from windows from this side and that side. And my family was holding babies and animals up so that they didn't drown and keeping themselves together. And because the water, if you look at some of the pictures, you can see the water in the basement up to the top. A cop by the name of James Ramp was murdered, and they blamed the murder on my family. Now I want to point out that they're stating that we plotted to kill this cop. Number one, we didn't know that they was coming to our home on August 8th. They came dressed for war. They came in our block with an army tank. They threw hand grenades in our house. They threw tear gas in our house. They put thousands of pounds of water pressure in our house. This was on August the 8th. And
it was just Sister Ramona Africa who was on.
No, she wasn't in there. Okay. She wasn't a part of MOVE at that particular point.
So this is the one that actually happened in 1978 then?
Yes.
Okay. And
right.
The other incident that I'm talking about, what I was thinking about.
Well, the one that you just asked me about, the MOVE 9, that was, and the reason why May 13th happened is because they had taken our family members.
Gotcha.
And the reason why August 8th happened, because they killed one of our babies, 3-week-old Life Africa, in 1976. So this is a history of the government there, and because the police force, they're pawns in a battle between us and corporate America, the corporate thieves, and while we was exposing them and the wrongs that they're doing, and they decided to attack our home. And first they attacked us at demonstrations, putting MOVE people in jail, and they only wound up with more cases because they would hold us in contempt, because we understand through the teachings of John Africa, you have the right to defend yourself, and if you don't defend yourself on any level, and he taught MOVE people how to defend ourselves on any level, and it's totally against this government. They thought that courts would be able to stop us, so they kept giving us contempt citations, and we wound up with hundreds of years in jail for contempt citations. This was before the confrontation where the cop got killed. On March 16th, 1976, we were at a demonstration where I think we was demonstrating against the Board of Health, or it could have been the Board of Education, but a lot of our people were arrested. They released our people late at night, and we communal live, and we're family Africa. We live as a family. We had 2 houses there. When they released our family from prison at night, we automatically, we glad to see him because the last we saw him, they was being beat up, locked up, or last we heard. So when they was bringing them, when they came home, and people came out to greet him, and they started a confrontation with one of our young boys, young brothers. They hit him, and my sister Janine Africa, who had a baby that was 3 weeks old, his name was Life Africa. Her husband was coming home. He had got beat up earlier, and she comes out with the baby, greeting him. And when she did, they had Phil down on the ground. They was beating him, and when Janine came out, the cops grabbed this arm and that arm, and the baby was released, and the baby's head was crushed there.
One of the things I really want to talk with you about is death row sentence, the way you work so hard on making sure that Mumia doesn't get sentenced to death. And I know that was his original sentence, was that he was to be sentenced to death. Through your protest and your work, you've been able to turn that law around and get some things going. Can you talk to us a little bit about the death row judgment itself and how you feel that that's an unfair really position that's been put on our political prisoners?
Right.
That's what is really initiated for us as a people.
That's right.
When it comes to that.
Well, one thing that this system has done, and when the lynchings, different things that they were doing, the outright killing, like thieves in the night, like they took Malcolm, they took Martin, they took Medgar. They had to come up with an altogether different way. And it was a framing, putting people in jail for the rest of their lives. And Mumia was sentenced to death for the murder of police officer James Ramp. For police officer Faulkner. The reason why a lot of people is in jail now and on death row is because people believe that these people are powerful. Mm-hmm. When we say ain't no power like the power of the people, when the power of the people don't stop, for years people was telling us, you'll never get him off of death row. And he's accused of killing a police officer. And if they don't, he'll just never come out. And, people was telling, here you are again. And, let it go. He's going to be on there the rest of life. Evidence proved that he was innocent. So our coordinator told us we needed to raise the necessary money and the awareness of the people, to what the plight of Mumia was. And we can pull them out from there.
Now, Mumia was a powerful journalist in the community.
Yes.
And that's something that a lot of people don't know about Mumia, that he was actually a journalist.
Yes.
He did a lot of reporting on what was going on with our people in our community.
Mm-hmm.
How important do you think that message still is? And I know he still transmits through prison. And when I was a part of What Good Is a Song on WRFG, we always played his messages.
Right.
So I know that it's a powerful message still to this day. And just to hear his voice, it's such a capturing voice, you know what I mean? And
yes.
It's not intimidating at all. And
right.
It kind of comforts you, puts you in a comfort mode to where you can actually really get his message.
Yes.
How important do you think his work was, and still is to our youth to be able to get?
Very important. And because back then he had a large listening audience of people from all ages to this day. And we just got letters from youth that is in prison in Germany. 12 youth wrote the district attorney in Philadelphia and to give Mumia a fair trial and release him based on evidence. 12 children. Mumia, right now, youth around the world, and in Tanzania, Sister Charlotte O'Neill and Pete O'Neill, and teaches Mumia. Mumia's on the radio there. The youth know him. And young rappers, and yesterday and today, Meek Mill, who's a young brother who gathered a lot of controversy.
Definitely.
Right, and he speaks about Mumia. That movement, we're working together for an event on March 3rd, and dealing with Meek, and Mumia is gathering his forces, our forces, and to explain to people who Meek Mill is. And Meek is a Malcolm in waiting. And he's George Jackson in waiting. This is a young rapper, and who I don't particularly care for his lyrics, a lot of them. But the way this system have it, that if you want to make some money, this is how you go. And one of the things about him being in jail, he's being surrounded by a lot of people, political prisoners, people with, knowledge of, they're protecting him. He's learning while he's in jail. Malcolm was in jail when he found out about Brother Elijah Muhammad. And so it's hopeful. A lot of people were saying, Meek Mill, the way he raps, so forth and so on, they want to throw him away, want to look at him, but they don't want to look at the system that causes this problem. They say, well, he got a choice. He can either do a mindful rap, but I'm saying, it's our job. It's our job when the time comes and that knock on that door comes, we got to kick it open. We got to grab him. And that's what's happening right now. So hopefully, in the work that we all put into Meek, and especially since you got thousands of youth, when it comes to a Meek Mill demonstration, it looks like the Million Man March. They show up. It is our job to be there because they're there for the music. Meek didn't go to jail because of his activism, but the charges and the things that they did to Meek is what they do to our youth every day. So here's an example of youth coming together, and it's our job to be amongst that crowd and to teach him, but you got to teach him first so that he can deliver the message. And it's being done because a lot of the activists is moving in and they're beginning to understand, because a lot of people was like, Meek Mill, man, of all the people, they could use this person, we could have used that person because they do this in the community and they've been locked up but why Meek Mill? Look, I'm not God, I'm not Mama Nature, me myself, I was a sister that did work in the community and never thought of I'll be where I am today, but I'm saying that life force that put you in these positions. Malcolm never thought he'll be where he was at, and neither the people who knew Malcolm back then. But you see people change, that's our job, to do that, so. Meek Mill was very important in this movement. Mumia and the youth is very important in this movement. There's artists for Mumia. There's youth, some of the most spectacular art in prison, in out of prison. Puerto Rico, the youth. When I went to Cuba, I was invited there by Fidel Castro, and they had some of the largest events. He pulled his entire Cuban island out with youth for Mumia. When they had the youth day, Mumia's son was invited there to speak. It was the youth that was in France, and I got this from the mayor of Bobigny. And with France is an anti-death penalty country. The youth came to their officials and told them they had to take on the case of Mumia. When I was invited to speak in Bobigny, it's the outskirts of Paris, and when we got there, just like this piece on the wall right here, and Mumia's picture, a painting on the wall from the top to like better than halfway down was this big mural of Mumia and Bobigny in France. Our black brother who came from the project, youth put him there. So I'm saying the youth movement is a very, very powerful movement. On Mumia, I raised 3 generations. It was my children, my grandchildren, and I have great-grandchildren.
Right.
And every last one of them is Mumia supporters.
Now, I know you said, I know you sat with the queen, but you said yourself you don't like to be called the queen. You like to be called a warrior.
I'm a warrior woman.
Warrior woman.
That's
Tell me
right.
the difference between the two, between a queen and a warrior woman.
Well,
From the standpoint of where you see it.
From where I see it, right? And I'm very aware of all the African queens, and and I'm not taking nothing from that, and that's their place in history, and that's where they like to be, and me, I'm a street soldier. And I love being with the people. If I come to an event and I'm in here, I'm moving tables. If they say mop that floor, no, they don't tell me that, but you'll see me with the mop. And you'll see me. I'm not the kind of person where some events I go to, people say, well, no, Mama Pam, you can't go out there now. We got to bring you out. I'm not that kind of person. When I'm walking the door, I'm with the people. And if people are doing something, we're doing it for each other. And queens have subjects. And they have people to do things for them that they're not willing to do for themselves. They're great strategists and things like that. And I wash my own clothes, and I'll wash yours if you ask me to. I'll clean your house if you ask me to. Queens don't do that. They might turn around and say, well, look, I'll have so-and-so come and do that.
Yeah.
And when you need your feet washed, I'll wash them. I had a lot of brothers that was in our prison, and that was dying. And I went and I massaged them and I did their feet. And that's me. I'm a servant.
I know that about you, but even in your history, sister, even back in the day, I know that when a brother was being beat down by the police, it's documented and written how you jumped in to help save and fight with that brother. So you don't just shine people's houses and wipe your feet.
Right.
You get in there. When you say you're a warrior, that's warrior work, because that's when you know you're at war with somebody.
Right. And this particular night, and how we wound up in the projects, and white folks, where black children had to come through white folks' territory to get to the projects, the white folks used to go and jump them and pull them off the buses. Children, elementary school children, and beat them up. There was a playground between the white neighborhood and the black neighborhood that when the black children went in there, they would beat them up. I belonged to a group, I was still on the move, and I belonged to a group called Community Patrol. And our job was to protect the community. That's when I joined in there. That's what I wanted to do. But we were stuck with a situation. When that happened, we took over the schoolyard. We ain't run nobody out, but we took it over. White folks just left because we wasn't going nowhere. And and then we were celebrating the victory in there. We laid the ground rules. The next time one of our babies is pulled off, and you can look for a same reaction. And no more. And I'm telling you, it didn't happen anymore either. And but that night we celebrating in the projects down the street from the thing, and all of a sudden you looked up. These cops was coming in. They was marching. You know how they had a picture, and I do not call cops pigs. I will not insult a pig to call it a cop. Pigs are not responsible for the beating, the maiming, the killing, the locking up. They're not responsible for none of that, just like we aren't. And but people will say the filth that a cop do. Turn around and say that and call it a pig. It's very insulting for the pig. And also, we don't do that. But they look like them pictures where they had the pigs, the cops looking like pigs with the big bellies and this. They was like clanging these sticks together, coming down the street, where we were at. And then once they got there, and they just started attacking people and just beating people down. first person I got involved with was one of our younger brothers, and that was a part of the community patrol. They grabbed him, and I didn't think, I seen this young brother on the ground, and I'm pulling them off from him, but they saw something else and they went after that. But then I moved a little further, and I could see the cops under this car, and they hitting and throwing their sticks down there. I'm like, well, they said that's Zaire under there. Zaire Ra was a black community activist, and he was the head of community patrol. And when they was after him, he ran, and they was beating him, and he ran, just slid up under the car. They pulled this brother from under the car by his feet, and they was clubbing him as they was pulling him from under there. And I was amongst the crowd, right? And and when they pulled him out, they hit him, and you seen him go out like this. They hit him again, and his eyes just popped right on out, and you could see the blood, coming from him. And and I didn't think and say, well, I'm going to go over here. Next thing I know, I'm down on a brother like this, blocking the blows, right? And I'm thinking that everybody else is going to come in there, right? Next thing I know, they had raised me up, and they started beating on me, but they had left the brother at that point. And and they had locked him up. And but what they did, this one cop took his blackjack and bam, right in my mouth, knocked all this out. And one of my teeth was sticking through here. They beat me so bad I didn't have control of my urine for a while. I would see it from here. I had felt nothing from here, down. And a lot of people thought because they had beat my teeth out that I wouldn't be out there. When we went before the judge, and I couldn't open my mouth because it was all dry. The blood was dry here because they kept us in several hours, and they wanted to clean me up. I refused to let them clean me up. And my eye was up, and and I couldn't stand up straight. And what they did, they sent a black judge in to talk to me. And because they went over the radio station, WRTI, what had happened, and was a mass of people in there. So they sent Judge Raphael Blunt in to talk with me and let me know that they released me on my own recognizance. And he was asking me, did I have anything to say? And the only thing I could do was look at him, because I didn't want none of this. And plus, it really hurted when that dry blood. And so he was saying, we need to clean you up because your people are waiting out there for you. And he brings this guard in there with some warm towels and stuff and all, and was saying that that they can give me all this blood, and and I told him no, and and he was offering to do everything inside there, then they would take me out the back door. No. When I went in there, they had like a gallery of people that was in there. When I came in, I was not trying to pretend that I was not in pain. And because I was in pain. And and I'm always like this, and people was like, well, what the heck is happening? And when they was talking to me, I turned and I just faced everybody, and you could hear like the gas in there. And and then I turned back around to them, and they was asking me, do I understand this? And I just shook my head, and he was saying, no, you have to answer for the record. I wouldn't. What I did, I turned right back around to the people, and I looked, and I did like this. Pan Africa Minister Confrontation for the MOVE organization, the Family Africa, chairwoman of the Uncompromising International Concerned Family and Friends of Mumia Abu Jamal, and I am a real activist.
Mumia on December 9th, 1981, and I was driving a cab because, they wanted Mumia to be like the 60-Minute Man, what was his name? Ed Bradley, and they wanted to actually have him change his voice a little, and he, Mumia's style, you're going to hear Mumia in a few, his style of reporting and humanizing things was one that captured people. When you hear his voice to this day, you will be captured by it. But he was fired from or let go from different radio stations. Mumia is a very principled person. He was working for one of the larger radio stations in Philadelphia, and it was during election time, and this was a white station. And Mumia chose to do a piece for a black brother was running for mayor by the name of Lucian Blackwell. And, he did the commentary, and his bosses called him in the following day and was telling him that, he shouldn't have done that. And they chastised him, and they were saying, look, the thing is, if you do that again, we're going to have to let you go. Mumia said, they said, do you understand? And Mumia said he got up, he understood, and he went to walk to the door, and then he turned around, and he came back, and he says, let me explain something to you. I'm a black man. I'm a black journalist. And when my people call on me to do something, he says, not believe, just like you believe, and I can't think of the white person that was running then, that they was running their commentaries and things. Black folks couldn't afford to put their commentaries, on that air. But Mumia wasn't on their airwaves. He was on the black community airwaves where he did this. And so what people want you to do when you become these journalists,
giving teachers what they want. With right-wing politicians racing to arm teachers and making schools neighborhood fortresses, one wonders, why let's ask teachers what they want? Teachers in West Virginia will tell you what they want, and it ain't Glocks. Since February the 22nd, teachers there have walked out demanding raises. Their demand is simple and to the point. No raise, no school. Teachers had earlier negotiated a 5% raise after talks with the governor. West Virginia Senate cut the raise out of the budget, and teachers took to the streets. It shows how politicians treat teachers as props rather than the hard-working people that they are. No raise, no school is beginning to echo far beyond the borders of the Mountain State. Workers are beginning to awaken from their long nightmares. Kudos to the teachers. Power to the teachers. From Imprisoned Nation, this is Mumia Abu Jamal.
You already know what it is. Coach New York minute in the building. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. Y'all go to the gym, I be like,